Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine. Namaste Saraswati Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvisesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Vancha Kalpatarupyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Jai Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shri Vasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So because Gita Jayanti is coming up next week, I thought I would do something where why did the screen change? Yeah, I'll do something to see the summary of Gita. So these are the verses composed by Yamunacharya, where he summarizes the whole Bhagavad Gita. So for us to have a big picture of the Bhagavad Gita. So I'll recite these verses and we will look at their meanings, and they're quite easy to understand as well. But the summaries are very well done. So you can just recite after me the first verse. Swadharma Jnana Vairagya Sadhya Bhaktyeka Gocharaha Narayanah Param Brahma Gita Shastre Samiritaha. So the first verse, what he has done is, he has summarized the entire Gita Shastra. So if somebody tells you what is Gita Shastra, what is the purpose of Gita Shastra, if someone asks, then look at this verse. It says, what is the goal of Gita Shastra? Bhaktyeka Gocharaha Narayana Param Brahma. That means it is directed towards the Supreme Brahman, Sriman Narayana, and to do bhakti to him. And before that, what is said? Swadharma, Jnana, Vairagya. Three things. Swadharma means performance of one's prescribed duty. Jnana means knowledge of Atma. And Vairagya is detachment from matter. If these three things you do, you have to do first Sadhya. Sadhya means ye to aapko karna hi hai. So that means these three things. Swadharma. Okay, execution of one's prescribed duty, understanding the Atma, and detachment from material enjoyment in general. These three things are mandatory. And on top of this, what you need to do, after doing these three, what you are supposed to do? Bhakti you are supposed to do. To whom you are supposed to do bhakti? To the Supreme Brahman. Who is the Supreme Brahman? Sriman Narayana. And this is Bhagavad Gita. Okay, so it's like a one verse summary. But if you see carefully, that's what the Gita is, right? Gita doesn't talk about bhakti without reference to one's Swadharma. And that means, for example, suppose if Arjuna would tell Krishna, oh Krishna, I will do bhakti to you, but don't ask me to fight this war. Is Krishna going to be happy with that? Say, oh, very good, no problem. You're doing bhakti in anyway. What is the problem? You don't fight. Whether you fight the war or don't fight, how does it matter? Is Krishna going to agree to that proposal? No, he's not going to agree. So that means that Swadharma which is there, that is mandatory. Jnana, you have to understand the Atma. That is mandatory. Detachment from material enjoyment, mandatory. After all this, you have to what you are supposed to do? Bhakti you are supposed to do. To whom? Narayana you are supposed to do. And if you have understood this, then you have understood the goal of Bhagavad Gita. So like that, he summarizes full Gita in one line. Okay? And every part of this verse is very important. I mean, you cannot ignore something. For example, nobody can say, I will not do bhakti, I will do only Swadharma. No, that is also not possible. Nobody can say, I will only have jnana of Atma, but I will not bother about Swadharma or bhakti. That is also not correct. No one can say, I will only consider Vairagya. I am not interested in Swadharma, I am not interested in bhakti. That is also not correct. Everything has to be there. Then Bhagavad Gita is understood. Because it's a one verse summary of the full Gita. Now I'll tell you what he does. Now in the next verse, he summarizes 666 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. So look at verse number 2. So this is the summary of the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. You repeat after me. Jnana karmatmike nishthe yoga laksheshu samskrite atmanubhuti siddhyarte purva shatkena chodite So in Sanskrit, when you say Purva Shatka means what? First 6 chapters. Purva Shatka. Purva Shatka, Madhyama Shatka and Antya Shatka. Shatka means what? 6. Purva Shatka means what? The first 6. So in Purva Shatka, in the first 6 chapters, what is Krishna doing? If you ask, okay, now full Bhagavad Gita ka to summary aapne bata diya. Can you tell what is the summary of the first 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita? Okay, so Krishna is saying here, Jnana Karmatmike, the path of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga have been spoken. Jnana Karmatmike Nishthe. Okay, Nishthe means path, the yoga path. Which path? Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga is spoken. Okay. And what is the goal of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga? Yoga Lakshya. See, Yoga Lakshya means now you may wonder, abhi Jnana Yoga ko bhi humne yoga bola, Karma Yoga bhi yoga bola. Now we are seeing Yoga Lakshya. This yoga is Dhyana Yoga. That means the first 6 chapters, Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga has been told for what purpose? So that you can do Dhyana Yoga. 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita. ठीक है ना? Jnana Karmatmike Nishthe. By Jnana and Karma, so that you come to Yoga Lakshya. Susamskrite. Susamskrite means it is like purifying process. Susamskrite. Just like, before you offer anything to the Lord, you do an achamanna. So all this is done susamskrite, to purify the soul. Why? Atmanubhuti siddhyarte, to achieve self-realization. Okay? That means what is the goal of the first 6 chapters? Atmanubhuti siddhyarte, to achieve self-realization. How will you achieve self-realization? By doing Dhyana Yoga, Yoga Lakshya. How can you do Dhyana Yoga? If you do Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, then you can do Dhyana Yoga. Because if you don't do Karma Yoga and Dhyana Yoga, you cannot do Dhyana Yoga. That is the whole Gita. First 3 chapter, 4th chapter, 5th chapter is talking about Karma Yoga, Jnana Yoga. Why Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga? So that you can do Dhyana Yoga. Why you have to do Dhyana Yoga? So that you can get self-realization. You understood? Very simple verse. Jnana Karmatmike Nishthe Yoga Lakshya Susamskrite Atmanubhuti Siddhyarte, for the purpose of self-realization. Purva Shatkena Chodite. It is the first 6 chapters. Now the middle 6 is summarized. Can you repeat after me? Madhyame Bhagavad Tattva Yatyatma Vapti Siddhaye Jnana Karma Abhivinirtyartha Bhakti Yoga Prakirtitah. Madhyame means the middle 6 chapters. Middle 6. What is told in the middle 6? Bhakti Yoga. Bhakti Yoga is being mentioned. Okay, good. Now what is Bhakti Yoga? From where is this Bhakti Yoga coming? Okay. Jnana Karma Abhinivrityartha. Jnana Karma Abhinivrityartha. That means the Bhakti Yoga on top of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. You understood? That means, see the point is, in the Bhagavad Gita, Krishna is not speaking Bhakti Yoga as a separate thing. He is speaking Bhakti Yoga on top of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. That means Krishna wants Arjuna to be engaged in Karma Yoga with knowledge and then do Bhakti Yoga. Correct? That means the Bhakti Yoga is sitting on top of these two. It is not aloof from this. At least in Bhagavad Gita. Correct? Krishna is not telling, I told you the point again, right? When Krishna said Manmana Bhavamat Bhakto and all that in the 9th chapter, what is Krishna expecting from Arjuna? He is expecting that Arjuna should fight with knowledge and then do bhakti to him. Correct. He is not expecting that he will do bhakti without that. That is why he is saying Jnana Karma Abhivinirtyartho. That means on top of Jnana Yoga and Karma Yoga, one is supposed to do Bhakti Yoga. That is in the middle 6. And how is Krishna encouraging him in Bhakti Yoga? Bhagavad Tattva Yatyatma Avapti Siddhaya. Bhagavad Tattva. That means the Lord is speaking about the nature of Bhagavan. If you see the 7th chapter, 9th chapter, 10th chapter, what is all? 11th chapter, it is all about the nature of Bhagavan. How is this Bhagavan? Okay, how is he situated everywhere in the world? How we can see him everywhere? How everything is in Bhagavan? That is Bhagavad Tattva Yatatma Avapti Siddhaye. That means The understanding of the true nature of Bhagavan is spoken in the middle six. Why is the, now if you ask, why is the Bhagavad Tattva, Tattva means you understand, not truth. Yatatma means again the knowledge about it. Avapti siddhi. Why is it spoken? So that you will be encouraged to achieve Bhagavan. How can you achieve Bhagavan? By doing Bhakti Yoga. But is this Bhakti Yoga independent? No, it is on top of Karma Yoga and Jnana Yoga. This is the middle six chapters. Is that okay? This is the middle six chapters. He's summarizing in one verse, middle six. Okay. Now look at the verse number 4. He is summarizing here the last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. Pradhana Purusha Vyakta Sarveshwara Vivechanam Karmadir Bhaktir Ityadihi Purva Sheshantimoditaha. Okay, very good. Antimoditaha. Antimoditaha means the final section. Last 6 chapters of Bhagavad Gita. What is spoken in that? Okay. Purva Shesha. That means, Purva Shesha means the first 12 chapters are there. Na? In that, some things were left out. 2 categories. Pradhana Purusha Vyakta Sarveshwara Vivechanam Karmadhi Bhakti Rityadi. See, so basically there is something called Tattva and there is something called Hita. Simple words. Huh? Tattva. Tattva means what? Truths. Truths means what? Like Prabhupada also writes in the introduction of Bhagavad Gita. That means material nature, Atma, Paramatma. These are all truths. This is called Tattva. Hita means what? The performance of yoga. Like Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga. This is Hita. Okay. So in the first 12 chapters, all these are described. But some things were left out. Okay. So Pradhana. Pradhana means what? Material nature. Purusha means what? The Atma. Vyakta means what? The product of Prakriti. Sarveshwara means what? Bhagavan. So these are all Tattva. You understood? These are all Tattva. This Tattva, was it mentioned in the first 12 chapters? It was mentioned. But some things were left out. That is spoken in the last. And the last 6 also, there are 2 parts to it. That is 13 to 15 chapter and 16 to 18 chapter Bhagavad Gita. In the 13 to 15 chapter Bhagavad Gita, what happens? Krishna there, he speaks about material nature. If you see 13th chapter, nature, enjoyer and consciousness. 14th chapter, he speaks again about modes. 15th chapter, he speaks about Bhagavan. So in that, he's speaking about all this. Pradhana, Purusha, Sarveshwara, everything he's speaking in 13 to 15. And Karmadhi Bhakti Ityadihi. That means Karma Yoga, Bhakti Yoga, Ityadi, etc. Whatever was left out. He spoke in the beginning. But whatever was left out, where is he speaking that? 16, 17, 18 chapter is again speaking it. He's speaking about the Yoga path. Purva Shesha means pehle jo shesh, jo bach gaya tha, antimoditaha. In the last 6 is again speaking about it. Okay. So if you see these first 4 verses, na, you understand full Gita. Then what Yamunacharya does very interesting. He summarizes chapter by chapter. देखो पहले क्या किया, पहले वर्ष में क्या किया, पूरा गीता को समराइज किया. फिर क्या किया उन्होंने 6 को समराइज किया. फिर अभी क्या करने वाले, चैप्टर वाइज समरी बना रहे, पढ़ेंगे. Look at the 5th verse. Asthana sneha karunya dharma dharmadiyakulam partam prapannamuddishya shastravatarnam kritam. Okay. So Shastra Avataranam means how the Shastra begins. First chapter. So what happens in the first chapter? Asthana sneha karunya. Asthana means जहां पे आपको स्नेह और करुणा दिखाना नहीं है, वहां पे आपने दिखा दिया. अस्थान, जहां पे दिखाना नहीं है, आप, यू आर नॉट सपोज्ड टू शो स्नेह एंड करुणा टू दुर्योधन एंड ऑल दिस पीपल. अस्थान, उस जगह पे आपने क्या किया, स्नेह और करुणा दिखाया. और स्नेह करुणा दिखाने के कारण क्या हुआ, व्हाट हैपेंड बिकॉज ऑफ दैट? धर्मा धर्म दिया कुलम. यू थॉट धर्म टू बी अधर्म एंड अधर्म टू बी धर्म. So you thought fighting the war is adharma. You thought forgiving is dharma. It is adharma actually. So you mistook dharma and adharma. Why you mistook adharma and adharma? Because in the wrong place you showed sneha and karuna. In the wrong place you are showing sneha and karuna. Asthana sneha karunya dharma dharma. Partha prapanna buddhishya. And finally what happened to Partha? Prapanna buddhishya. He got completely bewildered. And what did he do? He surrendered. And because he surrendered to Krishna, what happened? The Shastra called Bhagavad Gita came up. ठीक है ना? Simple है कि नहीं? तो पूरा first chapter है कि नहीं इसमें? Okay, so like this, if you see, we will go through the verses. Now the next one. Okay, what is the next verse? One second. Yeah. Just give me a second now. Yeah. नित्यात्म संग कर्मे हा गोचरा सांख्य योगधीः द्वितीये स्थितधि लक्ष्य प्रोक्ता तन्मोह शान्तये. See the second chapter, द्वितीये स्थितधि लक्ष्य. What is the goal of the second chapter? स्थितधि, to become stitadi, stita prajna, tanmoha shantaye. And the second chapter, what it did, it removed all confusions of Arjuna. Okay, this was the goal of second chapter. How did it achieve? Nitya Atma. It started talking about how Atma is Nitya. Asanga karmeha gochara. Asanga karmeha gochara means do karma yoga without attachment. Karmanyavadikaraste maafalishu. Sankhya Yogadihi. Krishna spoke about Sankhya and he spoke about the path of yoga. Esha te bhita Sankhya. 2.39 says, I spoke about Sankhya, now I am going to speak about yoga. So second chapter, what did Krishna do? He spoke about Sankhya and yoga. Okay. And before Sankhya and yoga, what did he speak? He spoke how Atma is eternal and how you should do your karma yoga without attachment. And if you do this, then what happens? You will achieve Stitadhi. You will become Sthita Prajna. And by doing this, what did Krishna do? Tan moha shanti. All his confusion he cleared. Because second chapter only, Arjuna's confusion was clear. You understood? It's a very beautiful summary of which chapter? Second chapter. Okay. Now look at the third chapter. Asaktya loka rakshaye guneshwaropya kartritam sarveshwareva nisyokta tritiye karma karyata. Okay. In Tritiye, third chapter, what is Krishna doing? Karma karyata. How to do karma yoga, Krishna is speaking. And this karma yoga, what all characteristics does it have? Asaktya. First thing, it has to be done with detachment. Asaktya. Okay. Second thing, loka rakshaya. It is supposed to be done for the welfare of people in general. If you know third chapter verses, Krishna says, right? Loka sangraham evapi sampashyan kartum arhasi. That is speaking here as loka rakshaya. Guneshwarope kartartam. Guneshwarope kartartam means understanding that I am not the doer, the modes of material nature are the doer. Okay. Krishna says, right? The 3.27 Bhagavad Gita, that ahankara vimudhatma kartaha vati manyate. Everything is done by the modes of nature. Sarveshwareva nesyoktva, and dedicate everything to the Supreme. 3.9 Bhagavad Gita, if you see. What does Krishna say in 3.9? Yajñartat karmano anyatre lokoyam karma bandhana. So this is the summary of the third chapter of Bhagavad Gita. You see that? Asaktya, lokarakshaye, guneshwaropi kartritam, sarveshwareva nisyokta. 4 points. Okay. Be detached in work. Do it for the welfare of the people in general. Understand modes are doing everything and surrender all results to the Supreme. If you do this, then you have understood karma yoga. Otherwise, you have not understood. Now, look at the next verse, the fourth chapter summary. Prasangat swasvabhavoktihi. Prasangat swasvabhavoktihi. Karmano karmatasya cha. Vedajnanasya mahatmyam. Chaturthadhyaya uchyate. So the fourth chapter, what is Krishna doing? First, prasangat swasvabhavokti. Prasangat means while talking to Arjuna, somehow prasangat, bato bato mein, swasvabhavokti. He spoke about his own nature, how he comes to the world. The first 9 verses, that's what he does. No? Krishna speaks about how he comes to this world. Karmana akarma jasya. How in karma there is akarma and in akarma there is karma. Correct? That is a very important theme in the 4th chapter. That means in karma yoga there is jnana yoga, in jnana yoga there is karma yoga. That connection Krishna spoke in 4th chapter. Bheda means what? Different types of karma yoga Krishna spoke in the 4th chapter. Like worshipping the devatas, performing sacrifices, observing celibacy, all that he has spoken. 13 types of karma yoga Krishna has spoken in the 4th chapter. Jnanasya mahatmyam, and the greatness of jnana. Krishna speaks towards the end how jnana is like a boat that can save you in this ocean of samsara and so on. So all this is spoken in the 4th chapter. Correct? Now go to the next verse. Go on. Okay. Huh? Yeah. Karma yogasya saukaryam shaigram kaschana tadvidaha brahma jnana prakashascha panchamadhyaya uchyate. The 5th chapter, what does Krishna do? Saukaryam. How karma yoga is very simple to perform, he says. That means in comparison to jnana yoga, karma yoga is very simple to perform. Jnana yoga is quite difficult. Okay, Shaigriam, it very quickly gives fruits also, karma yoga. Okay, Kaschana Tadvidaha. Kaschana Tadvidaha means there are certain auxiliaries in karma yoga. Like one has to, like if you see in the 5th chapter, Krishna speaks about how, in karma yoga, you allow the senses to contact the sense object, but you see yourself as a witness. Krishna says, you can be eating, sleeping, doing all this, but understand that you are not doing anything. It's only the body that is doing. That is Kaschana Tadvita. And what is the purpose of all this? Brahma Jnana Prakashascha. So that you have Brahma Jnana. And what is that Brahma Jnana? Krishna speaks in the 5th chapter. By that Brahma Jnana, you will see every living entity on the equal level. Samatvam. You come to that Samatvam stage. And this is spoken in the 5th chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Then the 6th chapter. Yogabhyasa vidir yogi. Chaturda yoga sadhanam. Yoga siddhasva yogasya. Paramyam shashta uchyate. So the 6th chapter, what does Krishna do? Yoga bhyasa vidhi. Yoga bhyasa vidhi means how to do yoga, Krishna says. That means how to, all the yama, niyama, asana, pranayama, all that he speaks. Yogi Chaturda, Krishna speaks about 4 types of yogis from 6.29 to 6.32, which are all successively higher categories of yogis. Okay, yoga sadhanam, what is the means of yoga? Abhyasa and vairagya, that is yoga sadhanam. Krishna speaks that. And there is something called abhyasa and vairagya, that means practice and detachment. Yoga Siddhi. Okay, what is Yoga Siddhi? The benefit of doing yoga. What is that benefit? Even if you discontinue next life, you can continue from where you are. And Yogasya Paramyam. Yogasya Paramyam means the greatness of yoga, which is what? 6.47 Bhagavad Gita. What is that? Yoginam api sarvesham madgatir antaratmana. How, you are complete. So that is Shashta Uchyate. This is 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita. You understood? Okay, I'm not going to do everything now. This much only I'm doing today. 10 verses we saw. So like this, every chapter he has summarized. Okay, so the whole purpose is, so Acharyas have done this type of work for us to easily understand what the whole Gita is. Okay. Yeah. Any question? Okay, in the 6th chapter Bhagavad Gita, Dhyana Yoga is about meditating on oneself. 6th chapter by and large. Okay. So the purpose of that is to understand that you are not this body. See, that's the general Dhyana Yoga method. In Dhyana Yoga, what one does is, with 6 chapter, that means after doing Karma Yoga, you understand that everybody is same. Correct? What is the same in everyone? The Atma. So one sits and meditates on the Atma. How the Atma is, how I am not this body. Now the thing is, somebody by meditating on the Atma, and if he comes in contact with the devotee, he can understand that there is something called Paramatma also. When he understands that, he will, "Arey, why should I just bother about?" And then he understands that the Paramatma is there in everyone's heart. Then he starts meditating on Paramatma, which is also Dhyana Yoga. So Dhyana Yoga can be neither meditation on Atma or it can be meditation on Paramatma. It depends. But that yogi who meditates on Paramatma obviously is more evolved. That yogi, by meditating on Paramatma for a long time, he starts developing a love towards Paramatma. Then he becomes a bhakta. When he becomes a bhakta, then he wants to know about Paramatma. Then 7th chapter starts. Because now, see, initially meditating on Atma, then meditating on Paramatma, and then he wants to know about Paramatma. Then he wants to render service to Paramatma. Correct? Then he wants to love the Paramatma. Then that is Bhakti Yoga. So that yoga basically leads to Bhakti, but it is independent also. It's a marga. Yeah? Any other question?
Yeah, you said we are supposed to see everyone as Atma. Because Atma means is a pure soul. Then the we and whatever is happening, how do we see it as I as doing activities and everyone is just puppet and being.
No, we have to see everyone is under the control of 3 modes of material nature. Because they are under the control of 3 modes of material nature, the body is under the control of 3 modes of material nature. Everyone is acting through the body in different ways. Correct? The dog is barking, someone is doing something, the birds are chirping. So there is the Atma through each of these bodies, which is made up of Prakriti, and it is doing various things, activities.
It's really serious about the rape and others going on.
Okay, see, now the sinful activities which are there, so that's why there is 16th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, divine and demonic. Okay, so there are people who are doing all this mischief, correct? Now, when you see them, you understand that the Atma there also is pure only. But due to being covered by extreme tamoguna, they are doing this nonsense. And for that, they have to be punished also. So they'll come to their senses and stop doing this. So it is not that it is not to be taken seriously as in, oh, it's all external only. Okay, only body got killed. No, it's not like that. There is something called dharma. See, then my question to you is, if everything is like that, then why Arjuna should fight the war? Why get the kingdom back? Kingdom is Maya. Duryodhana is ruling. Duryodhana is also Maya. Let Maya rule over Maya. Correct? Let the Pandavas do bhakti only, na? Why get involved in the war itself? Because see, the world is also having the aspect of dharma in it. That means you need the world to be ruled properly, governed properly. For which you need a proper administrator, for which the wrong administrator is to be removed. Make sense?
Then at one point of time, Pandavas and whatever the things were understood that this was Maya and then after 50 years.
Yeah, but then why are you emphasizing so much only on that? That is a part of life. They walked out to the forest. They ruled for 36 years. See, everybody has to die one day. But that doesn't mean that your contribution in the world is minimized. Parikshit Maharaj ruled for 60 years. He left it all and he heard Bhagavatam last 7 days. But you can't say that only those 7 days are important of his life. That 60 years was also very important, how he ruled. See, our body is temporary, But the world is always going to remain. And you need a proper system in this world so that people who are born in this world can practice yoga properly. For them to practice yoga, bhakti, everything, they need a proper governance. For that proper governance, there must be a system in place. For that system to function, everybody has to do karma yoga also. So that the world is protected. Lokarakshaye. We saw that. Asaktya lokarakshaye. Otherwise, the loka will not have rakshana. It's a very powerful concept. Krishna says the world will be put into ruination if I don't do anything. So don't never emphasize too much on the temporariness of the world. That's why I go back to the first verse. Swadharma jnana vairagya sadhya bhakti eka gochara. Narayanam param brahma Gita Shastra. It is not only vairagya, it is swadharma also. You have to sit and do what you are supposed to do in the world. Cultivate jnana in vairagya and do bhakti. That is Gita. You miss anything out in this, you have missed Bhagavad Gita. You have missed Gita completely. You have not understood only what Gita is. So Vairagya has its role. Vairagya is not that let the world go to hell. Vairagya is let me not get attached to the world. That is Vairagya. World को तो protect करना ही है हमको. You understood? Are you understanding the difference? Yeah, that is why Swadharma is there. Yeah.
So, Prabhuji, is the summary like this that what he said about there is so much dukkha and everything happening in this world? So, the purpose of that all is to understand that this world is not a good place. Like what you said as purification. Dharma is for to get in knowledge, and then after that, after attaining that knowledge, then we have to perform bhakti, and to perform bhakti nicely, then we need this what Krishna comes dharma samsthapanataya to establish that. So can it be summarized like this? Means first we should understand. So it is only for the people who understood that this world is not a good place to live. Otherwise, if the purpose was that, only that, then Krishna would have put only dukkha, dukkha, dukkha. Why he should come to establish dharma?
Yeah, correct. See, please try to understand this dukkha part of the world is not to be emphasized beyond a point. See, if you take this verse and you only hit on Vairagya, this world is dukkhalaya. Everything in the world is going to get destroyed. What are the, like he said, what are the use Pandavas became king? One day they had to leave everything and go. Are? You are too much focusing on that Vairagya part. For you, the world is temporary, but the world is going to always remain, right? And that world has to be protected. Krishna comes to this world to establish dharma only. Dharma means what? Proper governance. He comes to ensure that all the evil fellows are out and the right people are ruling. And everybody has to contribute in that dharma. And that you contribute via your swadharma. You understood?
Yes.
So, swadharma jnana vairagya. It is like that. So you cannot miss anything in this. If you miss anything in this, you have lost it. If you forget vairagya and you only have swadharma, then you will get attached to the world. You will want to enjoy. Not enjoying from the world, in the world doesn't mean that you stop action in the world. See, we confuse the two. हमको लगता है वैराग्य मतलब एक्शन ही नहीं करना है हमको वर्ल्ड में. नहीं, एक्शन करना है आपको उस उधर में. You should have knowledge also about Atma, Paramatma, everything. Jnana is needed. And then you have to do bhakti to Narayana, understanding that he is the Supreme Personality of God. If you miss any of this, you have missed Bhagavad Gita. It's as simple as that. Yeah? Any other question? You have something? Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Gaur Bhakti ki jai.
One last one. Like, what is the part of astrology? Prabhupada was telling some people is very serious, like nature is going on this. Same time, like, you don't leave it completely also. What, where the balance comes?
Beg your pardon? Where is it?
Where the balance comes of astrology. Sometimes devotees are too much into astrology, so they are like, I can't do this. Sometimes we are too behind that we shouldn't be doing astrology. So
Astrology is just giving you a direction. It is just, see, it is like somebody, before you go out, you understand that it is going to rain today. So you can be prepared. Jyotisha means what? To show you light. If you know it is going to rain, then what are you going to do? Can you stop the rain? No, what can you do? Take umbrella and go. Take a raincoat. Or if it's going to rain too much, then you can decide not to go today. Let's go tomorrow. बहुत बारिश होने वाली है आज. Or if you have to go only, then you understand, ठीक है, let me take a raincoat. Let me go at a time when the rain is less. Let me see the forecast carefully. Okay, 9 to 12 rain is very less. 12 to 6 it is going to rain like anything. 6 to 9 again rain will be less. So when rain is less, let me travel. When rain is too much, let me reach my destination. It is not to change the rain. Rain you cannot stop only. To make your plan so that, little comfort is there. That's all. How does that affect anything? Krishna is not going to change that. It is Krishna's system only. Krishna is only decided it is going to rain. So that suffering or whatever is going to come, आने ही वाला है वो आपको. But you can be better prepared to handle it. You can understand, okay, let me do this, then maybe it will be little manageable. Otherwise, you may suffer more. You will go in the biggest rain and without umbrella, then you will get more, you will bring more suffering on yourself. Just to minimize the suffering. That's all. Yeah? La Prabhupada ki jai.